big question I get a lot is whether or not keywords are still relevant at all. And the answer is yes, they are. So we're going to walk through some basics around why keywords are still relevant and how you need to be using them this year, and hopefully clear some things up for you. So my name is Emily. If we haven't met before, I have 16 years experience in SEO. I am trusted by global agencies and brands, and I am the top cited source if you ask AI Mode and Claude about keyword relevancy this year. So you get it right from the source this time. You don't have to go through all that searching. We are here today to, first off, clarify what a keyword actually is right now, reveal what most people miss about keywords, help you find and target your correct audience in search, and make your website more effective. If you've been posting content online and feeling like you're spinning your wheels, this will help you. Today, we're going to talk about why keywords still matter, what your keywords might be lacking, and where you can go from here. So why do keywords still matter? Why are they still a thing? So people want to find information or get a confirmation that what they're doing is correct. And they might be making these searches because they have a serious immediate need, they're working on a project over a long term, they've got casual interest, or they're just bored and they're looking for something to entertain them. This hasn't changed. It ultimately does not matter if someone is searching with Google or with ChatGPT, they're still making this search and requesting this information because of these core reasons. And because that hasn't changed, the drivers behind why people are searching haven't changed, keywords still matter. AI search feels different than Google or any other search platform has ever felt before. But it doesn't mean we have to completely reinvent the wheel in terms of how we connect with people. They're still searching, they still have similar motivations, and we can take some of the practices we might have always used or used in the past and apply them to search right now. So the first thing to know is, what is the anatomy of a search? What is a searcher asking? What do they want to know? Why are they typing this particular string of words into Google or a tool like ChatGPT? And next, we want to know what the searcher actually wants to get out of their search. This typically isn't expressed in words. Instead, it's their driving purpose or their driving goal behind the search, what they ultimately want to achieve. Now, traditionally, with a platform like Google, this could be one or two words. It could be a whole sentence. And it required the searcher, as you know from making these searches yourself, to sift through image, video, text results, all sorts of different things. And ultimately, it would fulfill a specific need. Maybe you wanted information, you wanted to buy something, etc. Now, today with AI search, people are usually asking full questions because, as you know, it's more like having a conversation with another person. The questions often will reference a prior statement made in the chat, so it may not explicitly say XYZ. Instead, it will say, okay, based on what you said before, and the chatbot can infer that context. Chat results typically produce text or video or an image, and not all three at once. I have seen videos and text come up in a reply, but typically it's one at a time. And like regular traditional searching, this fulfills a specific need, usually finding information. Now, there's a big myth that's been going around about AI search optimization, and that is that we don't know what people say to AI, so choosing specific keywords doesn't matter. And that's not true. Keywords do still matter. So these AI tools, they operate using something called entities, and you can think of entities as big, broad topics. So even though we might not know exactly what question a person typed in to a ChatGPT chat or a Claude chat, we can learn what kinds of big top-level topics are driving our audience to have these chats, to seek out information. Those are the entities. So for instance, in my business, I know that a lot of people have questions about keyword research, about how to write content, about how to structure content for SEO and AI search. I don't need to know the exact question that they are typing into ChatGPT verbatim. I just need to know that they are interested in those topics, and then I can gather a list of common questions and create content that answers those common questions. And these AI search algorithms are so good at inferring what someone needs and what's on a page that it can link my content to the very specific question that someone asked based on the shared overarching topic between the two. And it's also important to know that when you are using a tool that claims to show you exactly what people are searching for with ChatGPT or Claude, you're not actually getting people's actual chat questions. Those are typically private, and these tools can't show you that 100%. Instead, they're showing you questions that people are likely to ask. So you're taking those broad topics, distilling it down into probable questions, and then it's all close enough and topically related enough that search engines can figure out that you're answering a more specific variation of one of those bigger, broader questions. Now, let's talk a little bit about what your keywords might lack, because it's one thing to know what people are searching about, but you also need to know why they're searching for it. And this is something that gets overlooked a lot. So first, we need to talk about alignment. This is understanding where a searcher is in the funnel. Now, the funnel, you can truly think of it like a upside down triangle funnel, is how someone winds up making a purchase or booking a call or scheduling an appointment with you, whatever you want them to ultimately do on a page. So the top of the funnel, this is where someone is really just checking things out. They're just looking for info, starting the process of doing some research. Then we have the middle of the funnel where they're beginning to narrow their field of options a little bit. They've maybe picked a certain course of action and they're learning more about it, or they've picked a few different companies that they're interested in and they want to do some more research. And then at the bottom, that's when they're actually getting ready to commit to a purchase or to an engagement or to book a demo or whatever it is that you want them to do. Then we need to know, in addition to their alignment, their position in their search journey, what is the purpose of their search? And there are 4 kinds of search intent. So we have informational searches, which can be made at all stages in the funnel. Whether someone is looking for top-level information or they're almost ready to make a purchase, they may still be searching for some very specific information about your brand or your offerings. Navigational, which sounds like a real-world situation, but actually it happens most often after someone buys or downloads or schedules something on your website. This is where they want to know where to find a certain document or login page. So for instance, if I have a website built on WordPress and I can't remember how to log in, I might search how to log in on a WordPress.com website. The answer that I would get would point me in the right direction. I would navigate there in my browser, and that is an example of a navigational search. Then we have commercial searches. These happen when someone is getting ready to buy, but they don't have their credit card in hand just yet. They're not going to actually purchase or book or schedule during this search, but it's like the second to last stage. They're getting there. This happens in the middle of the funnel, and it's where we're talking to someone who is of a purchasing mindset, but they're not about to make that transaction in this moment. And then finally, we have transactional searches, which do happen at the very bottom of the funnel, and that is when the person really is ready to buy. When they find exactly what they want, they're going to book it, they're going to purchase it, they're going to schedule an appointment, they are ready to go. So when you know what part of the funnel someone is in and what the purpose behind their search is, you can create much more effective and targeted content that is served up by search engines and chat tools at the right time. We also need to think about how we're using keywords. So I'm curious to know what everyone's current state is. So if you want to let me know after watching this, I would love to hear, are you using just kind of whatever and wherever Claude and ChatGPT put things on a page, like you're saying, chat, write me a blog post about blank, and wherever ChatGPT decides to put certain terms, that's where you just leave it. Are you yourself putting specific terms and phrases into the title and maybe a few other spots on the web page? Or are you just using terms everywhere as much as possible? Like if you're writing a blog post about vacations in Florida, you just use Florida vacations as many times as you can on the page. Now, people do all of those, and it doesn't mean that it won't work for you if you do one of them, but keywords work best when they are placed in the title, particularly the primary keyword that you want to focus your whole page on, and in the URL of the page, the actual string of words that people type in after this www dot. You can put keywords in there after your website, and that really helps a lot. Putting keywords in subheadings within the text of your page is very useful, particularly when you are targeting a keyword that's a question and you're going to answer it. But ultimately, you want to put keywords naturally, where they make sense, never forced. A big part of the way AI search tools work today is by matching natural language patterns. So you don't need to, know exactly what someone's going to say. You don't need to try to force yourself to word things in a specific way. If you speak and write naturally, that is going to be picked up and processed by search engines correctly. These search engines, they can't think like people do, but they're going to be able to figure out what you're saying and how it relates to what the person on the other end is asking. It's also important to know when you're putting together your web pages that paragraph styles aren't decorative. Now, if you've gone into the back end on your website to upload content, you can even find this in Google Docs and Microsoft Word. There's a little drop down that will say H1 or title, H2, H3, and so forth. It goes all the way up to H6. These change, when you select one of these, it changes the size and often the style of the type that you are writing. However, it isn't just a decorative choice. They actually mean something. So behind the scenes, when a search engine, whether that's Google or an AI tool, comes to your website, it can see the code of your page and it can see whether something is an H1, an H2, or an H3, and so forth. And if it sees that something is an H1, it considers that to be the primary focus of a page. That is given the most weight, we'll say, in terms of importance. H2s, it recognizes as secondary and supporting topics. This is why putting questions that you're going to answer that relate to the main topic are very useful. And then H3 is considered to be a further expansion on whatever the H2 above it was. So you want to think about every page should have an H1. That's where your primary keyword, your primary topic is going to go. Then you want to use some subheadings, H2s throughout, that further expand on that. And if you need to drill down even deeper under one of those subtopics, that's where you can use H3s to provide more clarity and break things down in another level. Now, where to find keywords is also a big important thing. Now, paid SEO tools are often considered to be the gold standard for a reason, but you can begin finding keywords elsewhere right now and still do a lot with them. Now, paid search tools are considered to be the gold standard because they provide you a lot of information, and I have an example of what that looks like in just a few slides. You can look for search topics in other places, though. You can look in your own social media comments. You can look in your competitors' blog posts. You can read through some emails and DMs from your existing customers or leads who have questions. And then, of course, you can use SEO tools. And there are some that are free and some that are paid, which we're going to walk through. So first off, these are some of the tools that you can use for free. You can use simple Google search autocomplete. So if you go to Google, and I recommend logging out of your account because your account activity can influence what it shows you. So log out of your account, open up an incognito window if you can, and go to Google search and just start typing in a question related to what you think your audience is going to be searching. Like, put yourself in your audience shoes. Think, okay, what might they be typing in right now? What do they want to know? And then you will see this list of questions pop up, of other terms pop up. So this gives you an idea of what is top of mind, because what it shows you here are commonly searched phrases. Then, if you look in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, this is a screenshot from a tool called Google Search Console, which is free. You connect your website to it, and over time, it shows you what people are searching when they wind up finding your website in search results. So in this example, it shows you what some of the terms people have recently searched for, where my website showed up in search results and then they wound up clicking through. So AI writing versus human writing, human and AI writing, AI content, 2026 keywords, content outlines. This shows me that those topics are all very top of mind for my audience. And finally, your website content management platform, that would be like Squarespace, WordPress, Wix, etc. That very well may have some metrics that it can show you also. So it only will show, when it's your website platform metrics, it's only going to show you things related to pages you already have, but it shows you what topics people are finding most interesting on your website. So for instance, right now, this is a shot from the last 30 days on my site. My top page that got the most visits was a page comparing human and AI generated content writing. Then my page is about keywords and how to structure content, all of which is very similar to what we see in the Google Search Console result above, but it just verifies that that is indeed what my audience is very interested in. So one thing I could do is look for additional topics related to those and create more content about that to continue answering additional questions and providing information that is of interest to my audience. Now, what we're seeing here are a couple tools that you can pay for, but you can also use for free. So on the left, we have a screenshot from a tool called Also Asked. Also Asked is a really interesting tool where you can type in a keyword. It can be a question, it can be a single word, it can be a few strings of words put together, and it will give you a big tree graph, which we see just a portion of here because it's huge, of all sorts of different related questions that people ask. So Also Asked is a great way to say, okay, I know that my audience is interested in blank. Let's find out what questions they might be asking, and it'll give you this whole big graph, and you can pick out questions that you would like to answer in your website content. On the right, we have a screenshot from SEMrush, which is an SEO tool. Now, SEMrush is one of my clients, but I am not in any way paid to promote them through my own meetings. I just do use them anyway. I have for a long time. And they're also one of the only paid SEO tools that actually offers a free plan. So you can sign up for SEMrush and use it for free. You can do about, I want to say 10 searches a day. It will show you some keywords. So you could type in a term. For instance, to get this example here, I typed in SEO keywords as my starting term. It gave me a list of questions that people are asking. It shows me, so from the left to right, it shows me what the term is. It shows me what the intent is. That's those little colored squares. So I stands for informational, C stands for commercial. Then it shows me how many people are making that search every month. I have this set to just show me searches in the United States, and I can see that there are 1,900 people a month searching for how to find keywords for SEO. And then the colored dots are something called the difficulty score, where it shows you how hard it might be for your website to rank for that term. So for instance, if I had never written about keywords before, I had a brand new website, it would be hard, very hard, for me to appear in search results for any of the terms that have a red or an orange dot next to them. But I could start by targeting the questions that have a green or a yellow dot next to them, begin answering those questions, start appearing in those search results, and build my way up as I gain more of an audience over time. This is another way that SEMrush will show you the information about a term. So you can also see it laid out like this. There are other tools that do this as well. SE ranking and Hrefs are two other tools that are very reliable. I have also used for a long time. I like them very much as well. However, they do not offer free tiers like SEMrush. So if you're on a tight budget, SEMrush is the way to go. Also, SEMrush has been around for a really long time, and they are just generally considered to be extremely reliable across the board. So if you're doing work if you're a freelancer and you're doing work for a client and you're telling them, well, hey, I use SEMrush, that will likely be a name that if they work in marketing, they have heard before and they trust. Big question that I get a lot though is, well, can't I just use Claude or ChatGPT? And unfortunately, no. I have tried over the years using AI chat tools for keyword research because you would think that since people are typing questions in, it would be able to tell you a lot about what people are searching. But as I mentioned before, individual chats are pretty private in the sense that we, third parties, can't see what other people are saying. The companies that make the chat tools can, but we can't. So, when you go to one of these chat tools, and I've even tried this with Gemini, which is run by Google, so you would think, oh, it has to have search data. It doesn't. If you ask it to tell you what popular keywords related to a topic are or how many people search for something in a month, it will make up numbers. They aren't real. It's going to lead you in the wrong direction. So AI is helpful for making searches, but it's not really that helpful for discovering what other people are searching. And any chat you have with it is going to be heavily influenced by the way you type and previous chats you've had. So it's not going to give you a good picture of what other people are searching. For those, you want to use these third-party tools like even just using Google search and tools like SEMrush to help you figure out what people are actually asking and not have it be influenced by your own chat history or your own way of structuring your conversation. So I know that was a crash course. That's a lot all at once, but what comes next? What do you do with this starting drop of information? So first off, you need to know that keywords are not forever. So when you conduct keyword research, it's a good idea to plan on refreshing it periodically. Terms, technologies, and topics, they all change over time. The things people are interested in are going to change over time. If you never update your keywords and you only create content around the same set of terms for years on end, it can lead to stagnation. Your keywords might have been good in the beginning, helped you get traffic to your website, but over time that traffic drops off. A lot of people immediately blame that on, oh, well, the way people are searching has changed, and that can be part of it, but another part of it is if you aren't updating your keywords and keeping pace with the changes that people are making around what they're interested in, what they know, then, you're going to get less traffic. Ideally, you want to update your keywords every quarter. If you're on my email list, you might have seen this before, but I send out an email at the beginning of every quarter to my email list, letting them know that it's the start of a quarter. It's time to refresh their keywords. I do have an offer that I send out where I offer to do that for the people on my email list, but either way, it's just a good reminder for them to go ahead and refresh their own keywords if they want to do that themselves. If doing it quarterly feels unmanageable or it's not in your budget to hire someone to do it for you quarterly, strive to update your keywords biannually, so every 6 months. That can make it a little more manageable or a little more cost effective for you, but you are still making those important updates and refreshing and figuring out if there's terms and topics and subjects that your audience is no longer interested in, and you can discover what is now top of mind for them. You can also, if you want to go deeper beyond the kind of top level dive we've done today, you can join me next month for Keyword C.L.A.S.S. C.L.A.S.S stands for Clarify, List, Adjust, Sort, and Start. It is a 4-week program that's designed to help you show up in the right searches at the right time. So Each week we'll cover one of those topics. Week 1 is clarify, week 2 is list, and so forth. There's video lessons that I will deliver to you each week during keyword class that go deeper into the things that we've just touched on today, because this is a very information intensive topic. We unfortunately can't cover everything, in one 45-minute session. So we have a different part of the process that we tackle each week. I will share templates and tools and frameworks with you throughout the way. There is also a members only Slack group for questions, feedback, and support. So I will share that week's lesson with you, and then you can message me and we can talk about it. You can ask me to look over the keywords that you've started to put together and get some real-time feedback. So that is going to be the most direct way to really dig in and get a handle on your keyword research. By the end of August, you will have a complete keyword plan that will see you through the end of the year into 2027. Through Keyword Class, you will go from spending a lot of time publishing pages that don't work, feeling overwhelmed by SEO, to having a roadmap, having a plan you can follow, feeling confident that you know what kind of content to create, to deliver information to your audience, and you're going to see long-lasting impressions and clicks growth because you are actually creating content around terms that your audience is searching for. So Keyword Class is $75 one-time payment. It is 4 weeks, as I mentioned. Once the 4 weeks are over, you will have ongoing access to the videos if you want to rewatch them the next quarter to get a refresh or revisit them at any time. Class starts on August 2nd. So I know that is a lot of information all at once. If you have any questions, now we do have time for a Q&A. You do have a chat box that you can drop your questions into. I would be more than happy to answer them real time for you right now. This session has also been recorded, and I will send it out afterwards. So if anyone joined midway, you will get to see a copy of the slides and the earlier part of the presentation if you missed it. All right, so does anybody, and thank you, Gloria, I'm glad you liked that comparison. So does anybody have any questions that you want to ask? The floor is open. Go ahead and drop them in the chat and I will answer them. All right, I'm not seeing any questions come through, which is fine. Oh, there we go. Hold on, just gotta. Oh, great question, Erica. So how does the short course fit with my blog template? So for some background, I have a set of blog templates called the Simple Blogging System, which is a process that you can follow to create content that meets all those different kinds of search intent that we talked about. And if you missed that section of this presentation, it was informational search intent, navigational, commercial, and transactional. So the blogging templates align with each of those and help you create the right kind of content. Now, Erica, to answer your question, how does the short course fit with my blog templates? So the short course will help you create a true keyword bank and help you format those keywords into the content strategy that you're going to use going forward. So at the end of the course, you'll say, okay, these are the topics I'm going to write about. These are the keywords I'm going to focus on. And this is the order I'm going to do them in. During that process, we will identify what the search intent for every one of those keywords is. So when you leave, you'll know, okay, I have these 20 keywords I'm going to focus on. And that's not the limit you can create. You're going to be able to get a lot of keywords through the course, but we'll use 20 as an example. You'll be able to say, okay, these are the 20 keywords I have. I know that I need to focus on these 5 that are informational, these 5 that are transactional, these 5 that are navigational, and so forth. That will then make the process of mapping your content much easier using the template. So you'll be able to take the keywords you have, you'll know exactly what the point of the person's search is, what they want out of it, and then you will be able to pair that directly with the correct template from the Simple Blogging System. I hope that helps answer your question. If you have more questions about that, drop in the chat or feel free to message me afterward and we can talk through it some more. Oh, okay, great. And then Laura asked, how many keywords should we focus on in a blog? That is a great answer. I'm sorry. It is so hot in here. My brain is getting fried. That is a great question. So for keywords, ideally you want to focus on one main keyword per blog post. And I know that sounds like not very much, but you want to pick your main topic that you're going to answer and then look for supporting keywords and questions. So for instance, let's say I'm writing a blog post on AI versus human content writing. That was one of the examples we saw in the slides from, is a term that's driving traffic to my own website. So I will create a blog post on AI versus human content writing. That will be my primary keyword. Then I will look for some supporting questions that people are asking and I'll answer them in the text. So I have my one primary keyword and maybe I'll look for 3 supporting questions that I'm going to answer. That'll help give me more coverage across a bunch of different searches. And then I also added something called semantic keywords, which we didn't get into in this chat today because it is more in depth. I do cover semantic keywords in the keyword class. Essentially, they are supporting terms and concepts that provide more context around the main topic, but it gets very complex to just explain it off the cuff like this. So in sum, long answer, 1 primary topic and then look for about 3 subtopics that relate to the keyword that you can continue to expand on in the text. Gloria asks, I heard that creating content that satisfies more than one kind of search intent throws LLMs off. That's an interesting point. So generally speaking, one piece of content, one blog post typically does meet one search intent. You will see sometimes in a tool like SEMrush or Ahrefs that it will say, oh, this keyword is for both informational and commercial search intent. What I recommend doing in that case is doing the search in Google yourself and looking at the page and saying, okay, well, most of the websites that come up for this, they are writing informational blog posts. So we'll go with informational and then creating content for that. So yes, you want to have one kind of search intent that you focus on per blog post or per page, but you can have pages across your website that meet different kinds of search intent. You can have informational pages, you can have pages tailored towards those commercial searches and so forth. Going on, okay, and then Gloria said, I think informational and navigational search intent can be safely fused together. Is this smart to do? It depends. So navigational search intent is usually finding where something is on a website, while informational is providing more broad info about a topic. So I would actually separate informational and navigational content, generally speaking. There may be some instances where it makes sense to target both on the same page. I typically would separate them. I actually am more likely to, if anything, put together informational and commercial. So someone's looking for information, but the page also gives them insight into how to make a transaction, a download, a purchase, etc. when they're ready for it. Those I do sometimes merge together. It can be very situationally dependent, but generally speaking, you want to target one kind of intent per page. Erica asks, how quickly do good keywords take to work? That is a great question. So it can take a little time, and the answer somewhat depends on how established the website is. So my website I've had running now for, 7 years. So when I create content targeting a new term that is still related to everything else I've talked about, like for instance, going back to that AI versus human generated content writing term. So, for the first 4 or 5 years I had my website, ChatGPT wasn't really a thing, so I wasn't talking about AI generated content. Once that became a thing that was in our world and more of my audience had questions around it, I launched some pages about AI generated versus human generated content, And I did rise pretty quickly into the search results for those because I had an established website and I was writing about a topic that was very closely linked to what I was already ranking for, content SEO. If you are going to write about a brand new topic that your website hasn't covered, or you are going to start a new website from scratch, typically it will take 3 to 6 months to start seeing traction on keywords in search results. And I know that can be frustrating, especially if you've been doing social media marketing in your business and you've seen maybe some faster results on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. SEO can feel very slow, but it does build upon itself. So once you have started focusing on SEO and built up your content and you're regularly putting out new pages that target specific people and specific searches, it speeds up over time. It's a bit of a snowball effect. So even if it feels slow now, in the future, you may be able to see traction much faster. Like some of my clients who've had websites for 15 years, and they've been steadily publishing content on that website, we now can put a piece of content on their site and it will appear in, Chat GPT and Claude conversations within like 3 hours. So it does get a lot faster over time. And, another thing to think about is updating your older content too. That also can help keep your website at the top of search results. So again, going back to that AI and human content writing example, I originally published that page in mid-2022, right before ChatGPT came out. And then I updated it again this year. And that update really dramatically increased the traffic that I was getting to that page. It has always been a steady driver of traffic since I published it, but it went from being like maybe my 5th most popular page to continually being in the top 2. It kind of flip-flops back and forth with that in my pages about keywords. So I hope that's helpful. If you have a follow-up question, just drop it in the chat. We still have some time. So yes, it is waiting to see if it's working initially, and God, indeed, it can be so frustrating. Now, that's the tricky thing. It is like we have to do it to get it faster in the long run. But in the start, it can, you want to see the results right away. As far as how SEO translates to Pinterest, that's a very good question. So Pinterest is a very keyword-driven social media platform. So some of the other ones like Instagram and Twitter, while you certainly can search for regular words and have them come up, there's also hashtags and locations and other ways people can search. Pinterest, if anyone on the call isn't familiar with Pinterest, it is image-based, but very heavily focused on keyword search. So you type in a topic and image results come up. You can apply a lot of this to Pinterest. Now, the same phrases people are searching for in Google and like on ChatGPT aren't one-to-one the same on Pinterest, but if you remember back a few slides, I had said that you can log out of Google search and you can go in and start typing in a question and it will show you all the related phrases. You can do something really similar on Pinterest search. You might have already tried that, but it will show you terms that people are searching for, and you can take the same kind of keyword approach there. The big difference is that Pinterest, you're really working off of one term. Like you don't have a full text blog post that you're able to weave different questions into. So I could write one blog post targeting one primary term, but by answering different related questions, I might appear in 16 different search results because I'm answering questions and Google and AI tools are matching up different people's queries with the broad topic I'm speaking about. Pinterest, it's pretty much gonna be one-to-one with like how you title your pin and what the keyword is. So you can still take some of this and apply it to that. It's gonna have a much more narrow focus. And going off of that, another thing to be aware of is a lot of people have asked me, well, if I'm creating social media content, won't that social media content show up in search results? And the answer is sometimes, but not always. Social media platforms are in themselves very insular. So Generally, when someone runs a search, if social media comes up, it's going to be a longer forum type post, like it might be comments in a public Facebook community. It might be a Reddit thread, like a subreddit page that comes up. Individual social media accounts tend to not come up in search so much unless someone is searching specifically for your brand or your name. So I recommend not putting all your eggs just in the social media basket. Absolutely still do social media if that is a part of your business and your marketing. But then creating related content on your own website will allow you to appear in a broader range of search results. And you also have more control over it because your social media profiles can be shut down arbitrarily by the platforms. Not that it happens all the time, but like I used to have an Instagram page, and one day it got shut down randomly for no apparent reason, just an accident. And I had to jump through a bunch of hoops and submit my ID to Meta, and it was all this. Whereas my website, as long as I continue to pay my hosting bill every month, it's not going to go anywhere. And you're welcome. I'm glad that helped. Awesome. Well, you will be receiving an email today that contains a recap of today's presentation. Feel free to share it with anyone who you think might be useful. You're also going to receive an email from me, if you're on my email list, about Keyword Class and how to sign up and what that looks like. You can also go to my website, egcreativecontent.com/keywordclass, and it will give you all of the details and show you how to enroll. If you would like to do that, class will begin on August 2nd and run through the month of August. Of course, feel free to message me if you have any questions, and you are welcome. And it was lovely to see you here. Thank you for joining me. I hope you all have a nice day.